Hey everyone, and welcome to an all new episode of Wicked Unscripted, where we have unscripted conversations about some of the most popular reality shows on television. My name is Abigail Adams. I am your host for this podcast. And joining me today, as always, is the lovely Sarah Talks Big Brother. And we are back to talk about Big Brother, specifically Reindeer Games.
Whoop whoop. I never thought in a million years I'd say that.
I also didn't think I'd be saying I'm enjoying it.
What is happening? What
I'm sorry, I
is
didn't think
happening?
I'd
Like,
say
what
that.
universe is this? Where if you listen to our last episode covering the finale of Big Brother, where I was like, "What the fuck are we headed into? What is this?" And then here we are. Holy shit! This is a million times better than Big Brother 25 was. So
Oh my god, and we
we're
have a
two
lot of
episodes in.
topics that we're gonna talk about today, including just, like, comp equity, because that's something that's really big. Just in general, the way production is kind of functioning on this show versus Big Brother 25 and other seasons, recent seasons. Um, and then just I mean, we're just gonna break everything down for you guys, as we usually do. I mentioned that just because we are actually streaming this live on our Twitter right now, so in case there are people who might be tuning in from that, um, just welcome, and we hope you enjoy the ride. So let's start off by talking a little bit about this cast. We got Cameron back from Big Brother 25. I don't think that was necessarily a surprise. There were rumors it could have been Heisem. I didn't think that was really gonna pan out, especially considering the cast we just that we now know we have. Um, Whether you thought Cam was a good fit or not for this cast, he was, in my opinion, probably better than Heisem.
I mean, okay.
Well, more or less because Heisem literally left like week 3 and all of these people are
Yeah,
like,
I get it. I mean, I don't know. I think
I'm not saying I was like,
with the
yay.
campy Christmassiness of it all, I mean, I think Heisem would have been a great choice.
I'm not,
I
yeah.
didn't I'm not disliking Cam on this, like he I just I thought maybe once he got out of the house, he would stop the daddy
No.
phrases once he saw, the reaction. But you know,
Probably just
it
chalked up to haters at that point.
yeah, and which I'm not. I'm not a hater. I
No.
was not even a hater during the season. He was not my favorite during the season at all. Um, Post season, he has gained some redemption from me, absolutely. Um, but yeah, I didn't I don't there's not a single casting choice that I am surprised by or disappointed with.
Yeah, I mean, it I wasn't quite sure how this was gonna pan out, considering the cast they got together. I mean, we had literally 3 people from Big Brother 16. Cody, Josh no, excuse me, not Josh. Josh is on the show, sorry. I looked at Josh, who was right above him,
Yeah.
no. Cody, Nicole, and Frankie.
Yeah.
Which I just gotta say, I don't like that choice in terms of having 3 people from a single season. Their
Yes.
argument is like, well, Nicole won 18 and Cody won 22, and then we just have Frankie from the old season, and it's like, that's still 3 people from 1 season, let's not do that again,
Yeah.
please. You can have so much more variety, and I just don't know what their obsession is with season 16. I just don't get
They
it.
do have one. I mean, for those of you who don't know, that is like one of the main seasons that they show to house guests when they are in like sequestered before the show actually starts. That is one of the main seasons that they give them on DVD to watch. I don't know why. I mean, I do and I do from a production standpoint. I don't know why from a fan base standpoint. Um I would like them to show older seasons, people being a little bit more cutthroat, playing individual games. Um, that's kind of the seasons that I feel like we should be promoting, especially for the recruits who aren't have very limited exposure to any knowledge of the game going in. Give them that knowledge. Set yourself up. Um, but it is what it is. Yeah, I didn't know Frankie and Cody were so close.
I kind that th Yeah, I will say I was a little surprised by that myself.
Maybe they weren't. Maybe maybe they're not necessarily close. They're just talking like they did a season together and now they're going to work together because of it. And they're kind of playing that up. Um, but I do know it was surprising to me. It was surprising to me the way episode 1 panned out, only because I do know that Cam was very recently on the winner circle with Cody and Derek. And they were broing out, man. So I was a little shocked at the first episode, but let's talk about some of the details of the first episode.
Yeah, you don't want to run through the cast at all?
Oh yeah, we can, sure.
Oh no,
Yeah,
you don't have to. No.
sorry, yeah. No, I like them all. Those are my takes. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Who else we got? We got Xavier. Fine.
Yep.
It wasn't surprising me. We're gonna have a competition show for sure. Xavier.
His personality though, and I love him, but like compared to everybody else who is just so like very loud and vibrant, minus maybe Cody.
Yeah.
Nicole is usually like much more vibrant too. And this season, you can just feel she is just all anxiety. Like there's a piece of me that really,
that's not
really
how
feels.
it reads to me at all. And maybe it's just because I'm biased, but like it very much reads to me. She's a mom. She's very much a mom. This is mom Nicole. And let me tell you, as a mom, we're fucking tired. Like all the time, guys. We're just constantly worried and tired. And
Her body's catching up.
Nicole cried at the drop of a hat before. I mean, as a mom, it's 20 times worse. So not for her specifically, like as a mom.
No, just in general.
Yeah. Nicole just seems tired. She just
Yeah. The one comment I will make, and I hope this doesn't get me in trouble anywhere. It probably won't. Her fans need to chill.
Oh my god.
I just want to touch
her on Twitter.
I just want to touch briefly on what has happened on Twitter because like it's kind of really why people are like it's part of the explanation when people are like, well, why don't people like Nicole? It's like, it's not even necessarily that people don't like Nicole. It's that especially people don't like Nicole's stands because they are so ruthless as a group. But I'm not trying to say that every single one is.
Yeah,
but
Nicole Franzel is the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm sorry to Eagles fans.
She's the Eagles, right? Like there's no one inherently awful on the Eagles, but Eagle fans are ruthless, intense, and
they can sometimes be awesome. They can sometimes be incredible, but there are others that are just kind of what Sarah's doing right now, are just kind of taking
a little bit too far.
Too far. So
it's
what happened
to the point where we can't even talk about her objectively. Like we can't even say Nicole did this and this happened without someone reporting our lives for bullying and harassment. Like
it's crazy.
Insane. It's happened multiple times to both of us.
And so what recently happened on Twitter is right as the show was getting started, I can't remember, I think it was right before, Janelle posted a tweet saying, suggesting that production had ghosted Rachel Riley to put Nicole on the show. That is just an allegation. That is just something she said. But it's now gotten to the point where these stans are emailing both of their works and like demanding that they be reprimanded. And it's wild. Like, it's just like, and it's over really literally nothing. It's just
so I want to talk about some of this like Twitter beef because it played into the episode a little bit, but they were very vague. And one of the main questions we keep getting asked on TikTok, but we are just kind of like about talking about it because of past experiences on TikTok. I promise to talk about it here. And there's been a few articles posted since then, I think since this episode aired, but you can look this up. They're out there somewhere on Reddit. But I very vividly remember this. During All Stars season 22, post after whatever, Janelle, there was some beef in the house. And if we know anything about Nicole Franzel, which why she keeps getting cast, is that the girl can hold a grudge and she's petty as fuck. Like she's the level of petty I aspire to be in some ways. Because like I mean this like from the phrase like an elephant never forgets. Like Nicole will never forget how you slighted her." Um, and in season 22, Janelle was trying to save the other Nicole, and in doing that, betrayed Nicole Franzel, and that started the beef where it Nicole uninvited Janelle to her wedding with Victor. Um, After Janelle's out of the house, she gets the invitation or some information about Nicole's wedding, and she makes a post about totally being okay about being uninvited to a sponsored wedding, and how and it made an accusation that majority of Nicole's wedding was paid for by sponsors, and she was expecting all of her guests to pay like $3,000 to fly out for it. And she was getting brand deals out of this wedding. Um, Brittany Hayes chimed in on it. Um, Janelle made something in her post about like, I'm not paying $3,000 to fly your wedding and listen to Cotton Eye Joe. And Brittany Hayes chimed in about, I think it was Eagle Eye Joe. And then Brittany Hayes during this time was also retweeting criticisms that Nicole was facing for her treatment of Ian Terry. Now, during season 22, if you weren't paying attention, this is very long-winded, but I've been like dying to answer this question. And I know you
It's
guys are
important
dying to
context.
hear it.
I
But
also wanna add real quick that they had also had beef on Amazing Race that filmed before this
yes.
too, so the beef actually I don't even know if it started there,
Where's
but
the beef?
it got
Everywhere.
inflamed everywhere, all the so keep going, I just wanted to
Yep.
throw that in there as well.
Yeah, that was compacted in there too. But during All-Star season 22, Nicole was on the live feeds and laughing with other house guests about Ian's ticks and the things that he does to stem. Ian is on the spectrum. And Nicole was like Ian's bestie in the house, and so this hit even harder. She wasn't even like that was her best friend in the house, and she was making fun of something in such an awful way. Um, I guess to be like the it girl in the moment. I don't know, the pick me. Um, but Brittany, I don't know if she specifically tweeted, like made a tweet herself, but she was like liking and retweeting things about this. And so Brittany kind of sided with Janelle on Twitter, anti Nicole, season 22 of it all. So in the Reindeer Games episode, when they kind of are having their hash out moment, when um Nicole is saying, like, you said things, you shared things you talked about on the internet, blah, blah, blah. I feel just putting all the clues together
Yes.
that this was Brittany confirming the sponsorship stuff alongside Janelle that Nicole had shared with them.
I'm currently under the assumption that whatever we saw on Twitter is what they're discussing,
Mhm.
especially I think part of the problem is if they are not going to give us the full context, all we can do is assume everything, and, like, that means, we're talking about, like, the whole package. I mean, and maybe that's what they want us to think, but I'm not sure in this situation that's necessarily the best for Nicole. Like, I feel like it would have been and this is just my opinion, I feel like it would have been a little fairer to, like, have certain things, but I do understand rehashing it, I guess as I talk it through, she also probably doesn't wanna rehash some of the ugliness that did really come
Mhm.
out of it because Twitter got, like,
It was
next level
yeah,
ugly when that happened.
yeah.
I had to step away for a moment and catch up after a day because I was like, "Yo, this is" it was intense.
It was a
Um,
lot.
it
It
was
was
a
a lot.
lot and people from all sides just kind of coming in, and it was just like, "Oh, Jesus." It was a crazy moment. So that is what's being referenced in the episode that we didn't really get full context
Yeah.
on.
But we've been dying to answer it and talk
Yes,
about it and fill
finally.
you guys in because everyone's like, "What are they talking about?" And I'm like, "I remember, boo. I remember it so
So that
well."
we don't. It's literally if you tried to post a video about that on TikTok, if we tried to post this kind of
It would have gotten taken down.
recap on TikTok, this would not fly.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So
Oh, sorry. And the only other person I think that is really important to know, because we've pretty much run through everybody else, is like Danielle. Just so excited to see Danielle back. Not going to skate over her too much because I promise we have lots to talk about, especially right away. But before we fully get into episode 1, I do just want to like do a quick little recap for people on how this works super quickly. So there are 3 competitions every that's 6. There are 3 3 competitions every episode. Starting with the naughty and nice competition where the winner gets a power and gets to give somebody else a disadvantage. The Jingle Bell Brawl where it is decided who gets to pick who goes into the Santa's Showdown, or it decides the Santa's Showdown, one or the other. And then there's Santa's Showdown, which loser goes home. At the end of everything, there will actually be a Reindeer Games. Like, I I thought we were. I'm not going to be the first person saying this, but I think we all had the collective thought. I thought they were playing Reindeer Games already.
yeah,
Like,
I don't know, but I feel like that's kind of like a gauntlet, like the Goblet of Fire. Like I don't know, but that's like the end all
right? But like
competition.
the challenge final. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like you're playing a game to get to the challenge. It's like
You know what?
playing the
I
challenge.
still don't have it like it is whatever, because the
Yeah.
kinds of competitions they gave us
Mm.
are absolutely incredible. Before we get into that, we didn't talk on Taylor, and
Oh
I
yeah. Sorry.
am so excited about Taylor, not
Go for
just
it.
being in the house, but being in the house with the level of mutual gameplay respect she deserved her season.
Mhm.
Because Taylor was enemy number 1 unjustifiably, was immediately singled out by the women and made enemy number 1 the second she made her pageant walk across the yard. And I say pageant walk because that she was introduced as a pageant queen and they just ran wild with it.
Yep.
So to see Taylor actually in the house without having to just constantly be on the defense has been such a breath of fresh air. I love her DRs. I love that she's able to be like the ice queen sassy self that, she wanted to be in her season. And I love when they come in and she said, "I'm an entertainment reporter." I'm like, "Yes, girl, you are. Yes, you are."
Yeah, and
Ugh.
it's definitely fun to watch her in this setting versus the other setting, and it's really interesting to see some of the people that she was in that first setting with be a little ticked off. I am absolutely referencing Daniel Durston. If you have
Ugh.
seen the meltdown he has been having, it is
It is scary.
wild.
Like, I feel like he needs to be on some list somewhere because
I just like I don't know. It's just like
no,
some of the
it
tweets
is
are a
definitely like
lot.
some kinda FBI watch list level stuff. Um, his
Praying
obsession
he's
with
not on
her.
this live.
Yeah,
But, like, it's just the level, like, he's like, "Big this just shows that Big Brother's over." Literally every like, it's almost like forcing the counterpoint on every single thing. Like, everybody is out here not everybody, but the majority of people are out here right now saying, "I am so impressed with Reindeer Games. I am really enjoying Reindeer Games." People are not saying they want it to replace the whole game, but they're like, "Hey, if you wanna bring this back once a year, we're cool with that." And he's like, "This is the downfall of Big Brother." And I'm like, I why? What's the reasoning behind it? It's just like anything that people are making a point on that seems to be a popular point just automatically goes against it. And it's just like, but there are some comments I don't even want to fully address everything. I really don't. There's some comments he made about the cookout that I'm just gonna leave right there
yeah.
that I just was like, did you learn nothing from your season? That's all I gotta say. Is just that's just it's some people learned things from that season, and apparently he wasn't one of them. And it's just I want to say that I'm surprised, but I'm not. So we'll leave that there. But it's just fun to to go back to the person we are that is making him so mad. In my opinion, I feel like he wouldn't be this mad if Taylor wasn't on there and getting the praise and doing well. I'm not saying she's playing a perfect game by any means. But Taylor's karma has already come around. So it's just mwah, chef's kiss, living for it. Um However, and this is nothing against her, but we do have this thing in the BB fandom where it is a curse to be the first person to enter the house.
I mean,
And
but
who
it's Reindeer Games, so
I'm not done. We'll still see. We'll see. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
and then with
I
Josh.
was not thrilled. No, it was Taylor.
No,
No, it
I
was Taylor.
know. I know.
No,
I'm
Josh
sorry.
went ba 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 da
I
da da da.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, that's not what I was saying. ADHD moment. I was just popping in my
Oh.
head. Josh, we didn't talk about Josh.
Oh yeah, I mean, we just did a couple we mentioned Josh a little bit. I mentioned him when we were scrolling through, so it's not a huge
I
deal.
I I, uh, I love him more and more every show I watch him on.
I know. I mean, I gotta make it clear, I do not like BB-19 Josh. Um, I don't
BB-19 Josh is Rachel Riley's first season to me,
but right, that's
meaning
kind of what it is, like, are we gonna judge Rachel Riley currently
no,
based
but what I'm
on
saying is that
Yeah,
once you after multiple seasons, you get to know Rachel Riley,
right,
then going back and watching her first season hits different. I
it
could
does.
watch BB-19 Josh and enjoy him a lot more now that I know I see it. I see the
Oh,
shtick,
totally.
I see the big teddy bear, and then I see him reacting to the cards he was dealt. I love this growth of his, but,
Yes,
like, BB-19 Josh just seems like the kid version of himself, and so, like, I don't
totally.
dislike BB-19 Josh even, like,
It's I think I'm not like, there are things on there that I still look back and I'm just like, "Oh, Josh, oh, so cringe." But, like, I think he also looks back at those moments and has very similar reactions, and I think he's grown from those. I would like to say based on what I've seen on the shows. Obviously based on edits that we're getting, so, do have to be a little careful because we don't get live feeds for life. But but from what I've seen, I'm really thrilled. I loved that they brought back the pots and pans. One of the
yes.
comments that Durston brought up, he was like, "Does everybody not get that he wasn't the original pots and pans?" I'm like, "Yes, we get it. We had the conversation in season 19. Like it's an old conversation."
If I keep going in and out, I think I'm having some signal issues, so just, like, if I freeze in a ugly face, I apologize, guys, but
You're so good. If anything, if there's, like, something bad in the edit, I can always go back and fix it.
I mean, it is
Um,
what it is.
so starting off and I mean, there weren't any other crazy other crazy entrances, but I'd just say when Cameron walked in, you could tell like, I don't know about you, but I could just tell the vibe was not there for him because like, it was just gonna be either it was a quick, like, we're warm and we're welcoming or we're not, but it's not I feel like a lot of people who came out of BB-25 were probably gonna face the same fate where it's just kinda like, "We don't know you. Love you. Bye." It's not I don't think it's anything against them. I would have just been so I guess I would have been curious to see if they could have removed that BB-25 person and put somebody else in, how that would have changed. Um but I get that they wanna amp up the season that they just watched and get people remembering, and I get it, just meh. Could just tell that was not going anywhere fast. There are a bunch of alliances that formed pretty quickly. Couple of them that I'll just throw out there are, like, we saw Frankie and Cody that they were just super excited to see each other, we already talked about that. Taylor and Xavier kinda, like, linking up. They're trying to work with each other and keep watch each other's backs rather. Danny and Britt, not necessarily surprised, but when they're just, like, doing the, "Yeah, we gotta go after comp beasts, right? Yep, same, yep, it's good," and it's just like, oh, everything. It's just the one moment I needed, and it
But,
gave me
like, because of the competitions, like, I'm excited to talk about the comps.
Yes!
Um, the first comp, by the way, I was screaming at my television because I was like,
Same.
"This is so like, a
It was so
second
easy. The pointer finger, I was like, "It's
pointer
up on the
finger, I was
roof."
like, "Up, up on the rooftop, housetop, whatever." And by the way, it is sung 2 different ways depending on your region. It could be up on the housetop, up on the rooftop.
Okay,
But
good, because I was worried. So, do you think they would have accepted either answer then?
I have no idea. I don't know. Or they would have said, like, They would have corrected them if like, yes, you mean rooftop, like, or we're gonna say it's rooftop, or we're gonna say it's housetop,
Because I would hate
whatever.
if they got Wheel of Fortuned on that, where they would have been like, "All right, say the
Oh yeah,
correct
yeah,
name,"
yeah.
and then they're just like up on the rooftop, and then they're like, "You didn't say it, but somebody else said
But, like,
housetop."
by the time they got to clue 3, then we cut to a DR of Cody. He's like, "This competition is hard." I was like, "Are you kidding
Okay.
me?"
I was gonna save this for later in the episode, but he's also in this most recent episode looked at Xavier and he's like, "You gotta not use words like cerebral around me. I don't know
Oh,
what that word is." And I'm like,
yeah.
"Ah!"
No, I completely called it. I was like, "You don't know what that means."
Oh my
Um, yeah, I loved it though because again, it's an equitable comp.
yes.
And then we go into then the second comp they had in the first episode was a sabotage comp. Love
Oh,
that. Yeah,
great.
there's a balance beam, but like you're putting envelopes into people's slots and they have to like get those envelopes out across another balance beam to get to the last one, the golden envelope. And so if you just like cram all of your envelopes in a single person slot, then they have a lot more to give. And everyone was going after Cam was like the number one we're going to get out, and the reasoning everybody was given is like he's the new guy on the block, like
Yep.
we've been here for a minute, he's new, he just got out of the house. Um and then after that they went after Cody. Um and I was loving it because it wasn't overly physical, it was doable, but it was also strategic and social, where you're kind of putting people on the spot to see like who they're like they're having to show their cards.
Yep.
We love these kinds of competitions. That's why
Yes.
we like the face off competition.
Yes.
um and it's because it forces them to kind of show their social cards more, and I
Yeah.
loved that. And so then I was like, okay, so then we're going to do like an endurance for the final one. No, it was a puzzle, not a survivor puzzle either. We had no obstacle courses, we had no like running from one side of the room to the other. It was, here's your bag of pieces, do the puzzle. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So you are capable of showing this. You are saying that this is entertaining television. So you're agreeing that someone could just stand there stationary in a spot and do a puzzle and it be entertaining? Cool. Wonder where I've heard that before. Oh my God. It's both satisfying and frustrating at the same time.
No, absolutely, because it's something we've been we being like hardcore like live feeders,
Fan
people who
base.
are
Yeah.
just screaming for this. Like,
And we had 3 equitable comps in the first episode alone. I was like, "What is this?" Because when you tell me this is gonna be a show, but there's no live feeds, we're not voting people out. They're not it's not a there's no social element. It was just
they
pure,
literally said no social element.
like,
What do you mean?
pure comps. I don't think they said no social element. It's, I think, specific, like word for word. I think in the commercial, it just alluded to this
Well,
was
that's a good
straight
point.
up gauntlet style Big Brother
They did say
competitions,
it was competition based, that it was the
competition based. And I'm
competitions
sitting
and
here thinking, cool. So like 98% physical comps too. So then we're just predicting cast based on physicality. When they announced the cast, we're like, okay, so X, Cameron, Cody. Those are your final 3. So we get through this first episode and I'm like, what is this? Okay, it's got to be a fluke. They're just letting the house guests warm up. They want to make sure that everyone is seen as a threat and competitor. Nuh-uh. No, so far we're 2 episodes in, and these are the kind of styles comps that we get. And I'm so excited and thrilled for it. But you're giving me, it's a Christmas miracle, but you're giving me everything I wanted. And I'm just trying to get in the mentality and the frame of mind to prepare myself for this not being the case in season 26, although it absolutely should be.
oh, totally. I mean, I feel like I'm not saying that like, "Oh, they didn't want this," but it's just like, Big Brother has has some living up to do now because they just proved that they can do this, and if we've been screaming from the top of our lungs, "Do this for the dear love of God," and you're like, "We can do it on this 2-week special. How about that?" It's like,
Yeah.
We want it for all 12, 14 weeks, whatever you give us. It shouldn't be that hard.
The
It's
only
not
reasonable
difficult.
explanation I can come up with is that this is a different production team than regular Big Brother.
Maybe? I mean, it'd still be the same studio,
I know, but
but,
I'm
like,
saying, like, the
yeah, you
comp designers, right? They're home for the holidays, these are their interns. The set designers, they're home for the holidays, these are, like, up and coming, straight out of the college interns vying for like, "Hey, we're gonna give you this little 2-week project." It's gotta be someone. It has to be someone different.
or
I
literally they,
can't
like, were like, "Let's draw out of a hat of old comps and, like, just throw" I don't know, and I'm not it's just obviously some of these aren't old
like,
comps, but it's
something
like
I guess I just don't trust production enough to be like, "Hey, we've heard you for the last 10 years. So we're going to give you everything you wanted in this like little nothing burger of a 2-week special." It has like the only logical explanation I can come up with because of my trust issues
she has trust issues with production, she just cut out for a second, but she will be back momentarily. Um, but I agree with that, and it is really frustrating. I'll let her have the floor as soon as she comes back. Um, but it is like it's frustrating to know that they can do this. "You are back, keep going."
oh
I
my gosh.
stalled.
Anyway, I don't know what's happening. But it's
Santa's mad. Santa doesn't like
Santa's
your
mad.
opinions. Doesn't like your opinions
Hey,
at
you know
all.
what? Saint Nick, me too. Um, but and I'm not at the same time, like, I'm loving it. I love this
Yeah.
show, but, so anyway, I just my trust issues lead me to believe this has to be different people behind it, but whoever it is, it's working, and I'm only hoping that the positive feedback and that the ratings or the whatever they're gonna get out of this is a proof enough to show this. So I'm gonna be using every social platform I have to, like, applaud production. Whoever is pulling the strings here, whoever's making these calls, keep doing what you're doing. It's perfection.
So, couple things that might hurt ratings, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Or one of the thing is, well, one thing is, it's not even a couple things. I'm just all over the place. Okay, couple thoughts. Um, Number one, I have seen that ratings have not been incredible, but I want to say they're kind of on par for what Big Brother usually pulls in, anyways.
Yeah.
But I think what's really hard right now is that this is coming on, and people are starting a program when so many shows are ending right now, and there is and on top of that, this is already the end of reality television most seasons in general,
Yeah.
but reality television has had an inundation of shows because of the writer's strike. And it's not just like these are shows that never exist. Some are shows that never existed before, but like there's shows that got extended. So Big Brother's only coming back right now because it literally went into November, but shows started kind of late and shows had some weird things. Like Survivor's ending next week. That's gonna get I
Mhm.
mean, Survivor's ending the day before Reindeer Games ends. I'm not that could be either really, really
Yeah.
good or really, really bad for them, and I'm not really sure. Could be fine, but, like, I feel like that could have an impact.
Yeah.
If it's not promoted the right way, then it might be negative. If it's promoted the right way, it could be I don't know. But you have Amazing Race ending this week. Also, the Thursday episodes are gonna be oh, no, they're on at 8. I keep thinking they're on at 9. 'Cause I was gonna say they're gonna end up competing with House of Villains, but that's a I'll take that one back, but, it competes with shows like, Hell's Kitchen. There's another show that's on, Thursdays that it's just escaping me, but, like, it has competitions on
I'm
every
like,
single
House
day
of
of the
Villains
week.
is my Thursday.
Oh, I feel that. Oh yeah, like it competes with there was just a MasterChef finale on Monday
Mhm.
that it started on Sunday and they had it on Monday, so they were competing with Fox on that one. If you see me looking, I have a
You're
reality
looking at your
television
calendar.
board
Yeah.
right there where I keep all my shows. Um, Not TLC has some winners on right now with the current season of 90 Day Fiancé, which is having one hell of a tell-all. And then the ending, or I don't know if it's ending or what. I know it's the final season, but Family Chantel, things are heating up on there, so it's got competition
Vanderpump had a
there.
special last night too.
Vanderpump, I don't what days does Vanderpump run?
I don't know what the season will be starting in January. I
Oh,
just
it
know they
starts
ran
then.
a special last night. So
Got
they
you.
it did drop as, season 11, episode 1, but it was like a special.
Yeah.
But a lot of people tuned into that because this will be, like, the first full season since, Scandal.
Yep.
So
Oh god, it's gonna be
everyone's like, "Whoop." Every crumb they are dropping, we are picking up. But anyway, like, back to
oh, yeah.
Reindeer Games, like,
So that's it.
they had, like, the figure out what this song is based on clues. Brittany won that, And she had to pick someone, right? She had to
Yep,
pick
so she had to pick somebody to disadvantage, and she gave Cody the disadvantage,
Cody.
which was the extra
It's the naughty
letter.
list. You had to put him on the naughty list.
Yep, and she put him on the naughty list, which was basically just giving him a disadvantage in the next challenge. And that was, if I want to remember right, it was like one extra envelope or a couple extra.
Mhm.
I can't remember. It was extra envelopes in his thing. I I gotta say, Cody made me laugh because like I don't mean like just like what did he think was gonna happen? So he's talking about people who are targeting him, and he's like, like, "Obviously, Nicole's coming after me because I started going after her first, whatever," kinda starting to make excuses, and he's like, "But why is Taylor going after me?" And it's like, "Are you are you joking?
Or are you for real?
Is this a
For those
serious?"
of you who don't know, one of the winner circle's favorite topics to drop in at any given moment was how undeserving of a winner Taylor is.
And that she didn't know how to play the game. And,
Yeah.
like, one of his things that I don't know if he's walked back or not, but was literally, like, playing into the toxic mindset surrounding pageant women, and it's like, "Oh,
Not just
they're
pageant
bratty," and
women,
it's
but
like
those 2 guys equate, how good you are in the game to competitions.
yep,
And we're like, No, and no, you," not to mention, by the way, a lot of people don't know this, but we have, speaking of, like, Frankie and Cody and, of course, Derek, but, like, the season 16, Frankie outperformed Cody. So people look at Cody and they're like, "Ooh, comp beast." Frankie did better in the competitions than Cody.
hands
Frankie
down.
was the comp beast of the season.
Wasn't even close, and so that's why when people there are so many people who really like Cody, I'm assuming probably from All Stars.
Yeah.
It's like, they're, like, all surprised. They're like, "How? How is he not competing as well against someone like Frankie?" It's like, "What do you mean? Did you
And
watch
listen,
16?"
for the record, again, like
I
I
mean
said at
that
the top of this
kindly, but, like
podcast, I don't have anything against anyone in this house. I don't dislike anyone that was cast. I don't dislike Cody. I don't agree with him or Derek on their a lot of their takes from their podcast.
yep,
I don't agree. Like, we have a different idea of what is valuable in the game, and what as us fans would like to see. Um, I I enjoyed him on the Traders. I really did. I think that he made some like fatal flaws, and that's why he didn't perform well. I know that that was a very emotional experience for him, and I feel for him there. Um, but yeah, for him to like just be completely confused as to why Taylor wouldn't want to work with him, it, it, it's it's a kind of ignorance where I'm like, really? Are you sure about that?
and I
You
mean, I
sure
know they
about
wouldn't wanna
that?
I know they wouldn't, like, air the dirty laundry, but, like,
But
at
like,
least
he
if
should
he
know.
got it, he could have alluded to, like, "I might have some ideas," like, or, like, there could be
Yes.
something he could throw out there to just kinda cover up
But he
what we
seemed
all know.
genuinely in the dark about it. So that
Yeah.
that was kind of, so yeah, he got the disadvantage. They did the comp. Frankie wins. Cody took a nasty fall off of the balance beam. But Frankie wins the male comp.
Yep.
And his perk for that is that he gets to pick who goes into the Santa showdown. And this was tough for him, um, for multiple reasons of who he is working with in the house and everything. Um, but yeah, he picked Cam and X.
Yep.
And I think he just picked X because X ended up putting an envelope in his slot.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that is gonna be part of Frankie's downfall is, like, having too many friends in this game because there's gonna be somebody he
Mhm.
ultimately upsets, and I
Yes.
feel like sometimes, like, when we're playing, like, Modern Big Brother, it really becomes that where it's, like, big best friend, and it's like but, like, when you are friends with everybody in the house, it's only powerful if you're the only person that has that, but even then it comes with pitfalls where it's
Yeah.
like, if you have to make a move in a game like this, where you have to make moves, You're going to be stuck hurting somebody's feelings one way or the other. I'm not saying like turn his back on people
No.
without reason. It's just that is the flaw that comes with being so well liked as somebody in the house, because it's like,
Yeah.
ooh, somebody's not going to be happy with you at some point.
I mean, it's true, but he does have the advantage of this being like the first night in
Yeah,
a
well, he
competition
escaped
show.
that.
He
He
could be
escaped that
very
pretty well.
straightforward and he's like, "Hey, like everyone wants you to, you're the newest. I have the fewest connections with you and you are the only one that put envelopes in my slot." So, it was kind of like a really cut and dry like justification for it.
Yeah.
Him, I feel like he just rinsed and repeated his same spiel that didn't save him in 25, like, "Use
Yeah.
me. I'm enemy number 1.
100%.
Use me. Just use me as, a number for you. Use me how you want. If I win, you can have my whatever." Like, he used the same spiel. Now, if anyone already watched if any of these house guests, which I feel like a lot of them did, watched Cam in season 25, you would know what a wild card he is. You would know that working with him is quite dangerous because in trying to help you, he ends up hurting you, which like we saw it with Riley. And when he
The
was like,
entire alliance he built at the start of the show, the
yeah, just
entire 8-person alliance. He
so
literally
like,
just goes to Izzy and he's just like, "Guess what? Here you go.
yeah.
Here's the
So
entire
if you
alliance."
watched any of that, even from a casual viewer standpoint, you can very clearly see that Cam is a wild card. He is his own player. He's not like a loyal, trustworthy alliance member. So I don't think that that was the pitch that he should have gone with.
No.
Ultimately, like we saw Cam go night 1. Um, I was excited to see Cam. I wish we would have got him a little bit longer because going into this, I was like, well, if we're gonna have Cam, I'd like to see Cam compete in equitable comps against a level playing field of competitors.
I
That's what I wanted to
agree.
see.
I think
To
that
to
this
just
is
balance out to
telling.
see if, like, season 25 comps favored him, not in, like, a cheating production way, but just, like,
You
were
wanted a
more
purely
designed
physical
for
comp to
him.
see if he
Yes.
was there. I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think we had 2 cases of poetic justice, and this is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when we talked about, like, we want equitable comps and how it could change the game, do people like, I'm not trying to sound, I mean this in the kindest way possible. Do you see what we mean now?
Yeah.
Do you see what we
Because not a
mean?
single one of these comps was boring. I feel like the male one
It was
went on a little long.
and it was, yeah, it was boring because they played it too long. It's like they
Yeah,
just
we had
needed to do
too
a quick
much footage of
recap.
it, but it was not a boring comp at all.
No.
I feel like we were just watching a lot of the running back and forth
And that was
and
like,
hearing some kind of repetitive DRs. But other than that, that was really my only critique is that like I was kind of into it by this point, and I felt like we just spent too much of that 90 minutes on that particular comp.
mhm.
But other than that, like I feel like all of these have been very exciting comps to watch because they are so equitable. We don't know who's going into it. I love that I have no idea who could like any one of these people could win. Any
That's
single
the
one of them.
that's the fun of the show. That's what
Yeah.
made the show fun back in the day too. So
Yes.
that's kind of why it's like, it's not even because even if the same side of the house gets HOH every week, there hopefully is somebody on the other side of the house that is able to give veto. Obviously not every week, but it's the power struggle that we're missing so much of
Yes.
on regular seasons. And it's obviously we're not asking them to take Reindeer Games and throw it into Big Brother long form, because there would be lots of issues with that. But that said, I hope they can look at what is going on in these episodes and really take notes, what people like, what people don't like, and then on top of that, what worked and what didn't. Then maybe get them, I don't know how they can math it out, but math out like what ends up being the best options for them and moving forward with those, because I think this is a really good opportunity for them to reshape their show. And they just
Yep.
celebrated 25 seasons. Maybe the 20 maybe season 25 did not end in a spectacular
Maybe
fashion, but
26 to 50 can be this, let's get back to what's really fun. Um,
Survivor has had dud seasons, like, there was a
yeah,
stretch where people were like, "Is Survivor gonna get canceled? This is not great.
this is not
I'm not
it. Yeah.
thrilled." But Survivor almost every single time, and they've had a couple of those lulls where people are like, I'm not sure anymore," and every time the show has found a way to bring itself back and reinvent itself and
Yeah.
get people more invested. So I hope with all my heart that this next year they do that for Big Brother because there's an opportunity here. It's big.
I don't trust my brain not to forget this. So, I mean, and this goes for the second episode comps too. Um, what another great part about this show is we're getting DRs, we're getting these conversations, but there are no crazy twists. These house guests are given the rules of this game and they are strategizing and playing the game accordingly. I want to give a great example to I would go on record of saying probably the greatest reality television show I have ever seen this year was, I mean, ever, but I'm saying it was just this year. Squid Games, The Challenge. Squid Games, The Challenge. This is the game. You're going to compete. And then they just put the camera on these people and let them play the game. If you trust your casting process the way you should, the way Squid Games does, these players will give you the content you're desperately seeking. We do not need you to come in and shake up the game. We do not need you to come in and this goes for Survivor too. We don't need you to come in and steal votes and separate people into groups every week. We don't
Scream that one from the mountaintops.
we
Jesus
don't need you to
Christ.
put 5 immunity idols or a hidden veto somewhere. We
An
don't
amulet
need
that morphs 10
we
times.
don't need Dire Fest. We don't need Dead Week. We don't need these twists because you are casting incredibly, right? Season 25 cast, absolutely incredible. But they ended up what we ended up seeing was an entire season of these house guests reacting to twists that were given to them.
Yep.
These twists were not used to shake up the game, they were the game. And what's great about Reindeer Games is they are just playing this competition that has social element, meaning they have to work together, they have to align together. You have to get on people's good side because if they win any kind of power, you want to make sure you're not in their line of sight. And that is like the baseline game of Big Brother. If
Mhm.
we can get back to that with the cast that they've currently been they're casting great. I will say that. We're getting great people that are not overly problematic, and the ones that slip through the cracks they're dealing with and accordingly. Um so if we're looking at old seasons of Big Brother, it was more clean in that way.
Mhm.
Um, Mixed with today's more modern cast, I think that you have a recipe for greatness. It is not these alumni, it's not these fan favorites, it's not the vets that are making this special so great so far. It's the clean, pure version of the game we all love that is making it so great.
Well, I
Um,
think it's also their great casting choices all
Well,
coming together because
absolutely, I'm
written
saying I love their
gives.
cast
Oh,
choice.
no,
Yeah,
of
I'm
course.
saying that you can if I was watching this with all strangers, I would still be enjoying
Right.
it because of the equitable comps and they're just letting them play out the structured game. Here are the rules, let's play. And that's what they're doing and I'm enjoying that. I love the cast. I love these vets. I like seeing these familiar faces back, but I'm saying that if they were to do this with perfect strangers, it would still be as great, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
We wouldn't have Britney DRs though. So,
But that's the thing is maybe they can look at themselves in a mirror and be like, "Hey, maybe we need more Britneys,"
we need more Britneys.
and it's like it doesn't need to be exactly her personality, but God, I think one of my favorite moments, and I think it could stay in my favorite moments top 10 for the entire series here, is when she came out with the naughty stocking. She's like, "I have to decide who goes
Yes.
on the naughty list this week." And I was like, "I live for this. Keep doing it. Oh my god. It's
I love
what
everything about her.
it's part of why she was America's favorite when she was on season 12. Um and it's just, but like, give us those kinds of people who are going to give the snark. Like, we live for the snark. Like, that's
Yes.
because we want people to be snarky with us. It's supposed to be in on the joke, because that's really part of what
That's what
I
made
think makes her
Cerie
endearing.
such a fave. That's what made
Mhm.
her so popular, even with people like you had us who knew Cerie from Survivor and Traders and things like that. But just her DRs or like the viral clip of her with the happy birthday and going into the other room and like I feel
Oh
like Cerie's
god.
the closest we've gotten to Brittany Hayes DRs in a
Yes.
while. And we love it. We like someone that's going to be real for us. Not I don't the shows can't be enough when you're having a whole competition about wedgies. I don't need to like blindside butterbeans in the DRs. Like the DR is the one
No.
place where you like get on my level. Talk to me like you're going to like you would be talking to me in person. I don't need kitty kitty purr. I need like what the fuck is this? Like that's the energy. Like, if you need to put a face on for your game, go do it. But in the DR, like, be real with us. Be
Yeah.
vulnerable. Be like, be on our level where you and I are both acknowledging this campy shit. We're both acknowledging these people are fake as fuck, and we're both acknowledging that you were trying to get that bag. Like, be on our level in the DR. And I feel like Cerie did that. Brittany always does that, and I just could watch
Live for it.
endless hours of her in the DR.
Let's go back to episode 2 though. We're gonna
Mhm.
probably blow through this one a little bit faster than the first one.
Yeah, because I
Um,
wanna get to that end, the
oh
ending.
god. It's gonna be sweet. So just quick recap since we went on a little bit of a tangent. So Cameron just left the house. Xavier just won his first Santa showdown. And right after that, we see a scene of him talking to Frankie and him and them kind of agreeing to not target each other. He's kind of already wary. I think this is for foreshadowing something. I don't know what it is. Um, but he's like, I don't know if this is gonna stay honored, but for now, we're saying we're not targeting each other. And it's like, curious to see how long this lasts. You're on the clock. Like, I literally should have started a timer at that moment and been like, okay, let's see. Um, but we really quickly go into the naughty and nice comp. Also, side note, really liked that we got the 90-minute extension for this and this upcoming episode because I think it is deserving. It fills really
Yes,
nicely.
yes.
2 hours, I think, ultimately ended up being a little too long, because, like, you saw that in the male comp where it was like, "All right, chop chop. We don't need any more of this. We're done." But anyways, so naughty and nice comp. This competition was another kind of mental competition. Only physical part was just running to different rooms. And in this competition, they had to figure out. So there's like 20 songs on the memory wall, right? And they had to figure out which one of those songs was not ripped up, like had their sheet music ripped up by the carolers. Which song did they want to sing? Really corny. Still love the corniness that they are sewing in here while having some really serious good gameplay. I think it's really complementing each other very nicely. Oh my god, we didn't talk about about Marshmello and DJ Bowie Jane. I'm just kidding. That's what everybody's saying. I'm
Don't
not
forget
saying
her. Don't
that.
forget her.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. I had to bring that up on the podcast. I had to. Oh my god, that was, I don't know how they got away with that because that looked exactly like Marshmello. Um, Anyways, we'll go back to that. That was just me having an ADHD moment of my own. Um, so I don't know if you have any big notes for this competition. Taylor threw it. She didn't want to have the power. She didn't mind having obviously the advantage. It was the disadvantage that she was worried about giving out. This is kind of something that a lot of people are weighing on their mind,
This was a
naturally.
tough one. This was a challenging, mental, equitable comp. I'm here for that. I don't know why they left the torn up sheet music all throughout the house for the rest of the day. Did you notice that? It was in
I
every
did.
scene.
They're like, we can't. Maybe they aren't going to be entering the house until after, though, and then it's just like in order to like kind of keep everything. I don't know.
I
Maybe
don't
they just.
know.
I
It was
don't
just
know.
they were
I'm
laying
making
around in every
excuses.
scene, but okay.
It is really strange. It ultimately was it Deck the Halls. Not that it matters, but I think it
No,
was.
that's what Brittany picked first,
I
and
thought that's what I thought
I
that's
don't
what
know.
Cody
I
said.
feel I thought that that's what Brittany was first into DR, and that's what she gave the answer to, but we know Brittany didn't win, so
I don't remember, but either way,
Cody
Cody did
won.
end up winning. He took the slow and steady approach, which surprisingly in this, I mean, it's good to play that card, but it can be really risky in a competition like this. So he lucked out. He lucked out by doing that because he was what, third to last. I think the only other people that hadn't rung in before him were Danielle and Xavier. And Xavier, oh, he was another one. He's like, I don't want this power at all. I don't go Cody, go take it. Um so Cody won, and the advantage was selecting super teams, which if you've seen me on TikTok, I didn't explain it well at all. But like this is a concept straight up taken out of a children's show. Like it's the kids' version of Survivor called Endurance. Apparently, people said it reminded them of Moolah Beach too. I haven't seen that one. I think that was a little after. Um, and it was basically very similar concept where it's like the winner of a challenge gets to separate everybody who is a competitor into two teams. They get to pick their super team, and whoever is left gets to be on the other one. And what was always fun about that, and I remembered right away when I heard super teams, is usually the underdogs won. Not every time, but very often the underdogs won. And I was like, ooh, seeing the foreshadowing in the edit, I was like, oh, is that what we're getting? And sure enough, that is exactly what
Yeah.
we got. And it was beautiful, brilliantly edited. The story really sold there.
Yeah,
I think I can't rave
Cody
about it
picked
enough.
all the comp beasts plus, Nicole, to
For the cerebral.
for the cerebral aspect.
I did.
But Nicole was considered a comp beast. She was
Yeah.
she's always performed very well in competitions. Um, but that left Josh, Brittany, Taylor, and Danielle on the other side. And as Brittany said, they're team of losers.
Oh,
They're
God.
the losers team. The
The
team of
expendable loser half of the house.
But little did Cody know that they were going into another equitable, not overly physical comp. And the balance, there was the scales kind of balancing where they had these Christmas trees. Now the Christmas tree was on a teeter too, but they had to balance each of the branches, their ornaments, and they went up from small to large.
Right.
And Josh was very good at like taking charge of this team in the beginning. He's like, okay, we need to think like arm span here, and then sorted everyone to what like would be the easiest for them. And yeah, Cody's team was struggling through this, and it was very, very exciting to watch. But even though they were struggling, it did like we were neck and neck the whole time. This wasn't a steamroll either side, and I loved that.
Well, it wound up being, well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily steamroll, but they got their asses kicked. They got
I
their
mean,
asses. Well, they
yes
got two
and no,
people got
because
lapped.
yeah, they still had two left, but I think Frankie was just finishing up his. So at any
Oh
point,
no,
if
I
Frankie
said
had
two
finished
people
it,
got lapped.
oh,
Like
last. I'm sorry.
so
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 they were
I
on their last tree. Josh was struggling. Frankie was on his on the other side. And at any point, Frankie could have finished and Cody could have come and taken that. So, like, what I mean by like neck and neck is that,
right,
like,
right.
we didn't know until we knew because it's one of those things where, like, Josh's tree comes down and it takes him forever and it did a couple times. So, like, kind of like those stacking pieces comps, like at any point, like it looks like somebody's when they could be out in just a second. So it was excining. It was very
It
exciting to
was.
watch.
I only said they got their asses kicked because Nicole got lapped by Brittany. And she not only really got lapped by Brittany. So what happened was Taylor had a disadvantage, which ultimately was a disadvantage for the team. Gonna say I'm not sure if I liked that. I think that could take a little tweaking because, like, why give one person a disadvantage if it's going to be for the whole team? But I digress. Um, so part of that was she had to like build a little small tree before they could keep going and doing that. Kind of similar if you watch the Amazing Race, kind of how they do the speed bumps. Like actually almost exactly the same. But so after that, Brittany gets up and she starts, and she then laps Nicole, who is the first person out there. It's brutal. And then they eventually caught up, but then Taylor lapped Xavier. So It was just brutal. They did end up catching up, but it was just like watching the underdogs have this level of success. I think that's why I saw it as such an ass kicking because I'm just like, damn, damn, 2 people got lapped. Your strong people can't carry you through another challenge. I just think it doesn't mean that strong people can't play a strong Big Brother game. I just think I enjoy seeing the fact that like you don't have to be a strong person to be successful, and that has been very much what we've seen on Big Brother for the last I don't know how many years, which has been really frustrating. Um, so other than that, I don't think there was anything super crazy. The editing in this, they've gone with like what Survivor's been doing, where it's like the more like dramatic edit where they're just like doing the slow-mos of them running and doing things. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't hate it. They did that with kind of the balancing when Josh lost all of his tree, and that was a good dramatic moment. Really loved that moment.
Yeah. The editing's been great. Again, it feels like a completely different teams
I
behind it.
know.
Um,
What do we know?
and then the Santa showdown. So, with winning, how did they she picked? They all collectively got to pick?
Yes.
They all collectively did. I think Taylor just delivered the news, right?
Yep. And
Yeah.
it ultimately was they knew this is a short game. They need to get the big guns because eventually there will be a physical challenge that is going to favor them and
Yeah.
getting out those big guns when they're also all I mean so the people that were eligible were Cody, Xavier, Frankie, and Nicole. And I mean, all of them also are pretty smart. So that's the hard thing is like you want to get those
And
multi-threat
it was
players out.
3. It was 3 people facing off, and that was
Yep.
even, like, I liked that it's not, like, the same rinse and repeat. So,
Yep.
like, Cody's advantage was different than Nicole's advantage, and, like, everything's kinda different. So, going into the Santa Showdown, 3 of the 4 teammates will be competing. Basically, the losing team the winning team had to, pick which one of those teammates to save from Santa Showdown. And Nicole made a very decent pitch. She's like, take out one. I mean, you take me out, then like you're no matter what, you're getting rid of a strong competitive guy.
Exactly. And I think that was the smartest move they could make with that.
Mhm.
So that is the choice they made. It made for a really entertaining competition too. Like I was on the edge of my seat for the entire thing. And this competition was kind of similar to the one before. Maybe it's just because I see words in my brain and my brain just is weird. Um, it
Oh
had
gosh, these freezes.
so this competition, there were 5 kids that they had to shop for basically at Santa's workshop, and each of these kids had a list that had very specific things. I like this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't want this. And they had to go into the shop and go find the
I need
specific toys
something
that
with
matched it.
legs but no tail. Yeah.
That was a good one. Well, and that one ended up being, a telescope, which was really good. I really liked that. A little bit of a riddle in there instead of just being like, "I want a toy," got
Yeah.
them really thinking. So I really liked how this one was designed.
Yeah, it was a great
Um, and again, it really ultimately, the more cerebral people ended up winning. Cody struggled. He
yeah.
was not getting it. Not that he wasn't super far behind Frankie and Xavier, but he was not even close. Like it from what it seemed like, it was 1-2 pretty quickly. Like Xavier hit the button, and I guess probably 90 seconds max. Frankie hit his button too. Could just be the edit, but based on what I saw,
Yeah.
seemed pretty close. So it
Okay,
did
but how are do we have like a bingo card of like who out of everybody's left, who has Frankie not jumped up on?
I was literally having the same We should go back and just start marking it off and see
Yeah,
how long it takes for him to
like a
jump up on
bingo card.
everybody. The only person he can't do it to is Brittany, I think.
Yeah, that's
She's
true.
too small. Can you imagine him jumping?
Danielle. Mhm.
Oh, it was good. So yeah, um, had an emotional moment with Frankie and Cody. I felt horrible. You could see it on Cody's face, dude. He's had a rough year.
He
He looked
has.
broken.
He has, but I will say
Felt
this, like, we
horrible.
did not touch on so when someone leaves the house, they get to
Oh,
pick a
yes.
present from underneath the tree. Cam there's good prizes, and then there's, like, just not so great, and Cam won the Jelly of the Month Club, which, by the way, I would be all about. I love my jams and jellies. Your
I
girl
think it's
loves
just
jams
funny
and
because
jellies.
it's a quirky gift, but I think that's
I love it.
fun.
Send
I
me a
love
Jelly of the
that.
Month Club gift. I'd be here for it. Um, and then but Cody got a fruitcake.
There's a bunch of fruitcakes under there apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's like I don't know if there's how many, it could just be, like, 1 or 2. It could also be, like, half of the prizes are
But
fruitcakes.
what was it that Frankie said? Like, "Oh, now you have 2
Yep,
fruitcakes?"
yep, and then he jumped in his arms again. He's like, "2 fruitcakes."
I think Frankie celebrated a little hard, got caught up in the moment, wasn't reading the room very well, but, like, I
No.
love that about him.
I was gonna say, I think that is also a little Frankie, but,
It's
like,
very
but
Frankie.
it's also not that he, like if you know Frankie, you know it's not malicious, that he's
No.
not trying to hurt your feelings, he is just, "I can't contain myself," like, what was the character? I don't know if she had a name, but, like, they used to bring her out at Christmas time, it was the Kristen Wiig character um, SNL, and she's like, "I'm so excited! It's a surprise!" And like that's like the level of excitement that like her character was excited to tell people like she's having a baby. It felt like that's the level of energy he was bringing to this, where he was just like, I mean, I don't think he has, and I mean this in the kindest way, because I don't know if I do. I think you see on the podcast here, I don't have very many levels. I'm at a 1, a 5, or a 10. I think that's kind of same for him, where it's like you're either chill, you are low affect, or you are just sky high. um, it's he is really he's been really entertaining to watch. Um, I wish they would give him some more natural um DRs. I feel like some of the DRs, and maybe it's just him though. I mean, it really could just be him just like trying to be campy because that is who he is. It feels like some of his DRs are a little more not as natural as others. But it also could just be him just trying to put on a show, and I don't judge that at all because if that's what he wants to do, by all means, we're here to be entertained. So I won't complain about that. Um so a couple questions and then we're gonna wrap up. Who is your favorite player so far? Or
Mm,
players, but if you're gonna say players, you can only have 2. So you only get 2
Brittany.
people.
Brittany.
So my number 1 is Brittany, but
Mhm.
I have a close second. Though
Okay.
I don't think this person will necessarily always stay there, but for now, it's Josh. I
Oh
am
my god, that was gonna be my second.
loving Josh right now. And
Yeah, same.
Danielle is the one, just so you guys know, she is
Yeah,
my very, very close third. She just hasn't had the opportunity to have, and she's
she
going
will.
to. She will. So that's why I'm like, I don't know where that'll sit down the line, but I have
Yeah.
been
But yeah, Josh is my number
loving,
2. Taylor's my number
loving.
3.
Has been so I mean, really, Taylor has been giving like, it's those are the top 4 for me, and
Yeah.
they have just like Taylor's really close behind for me for Danielle. It's just I'm so ready for the Danielle drama.
I
I know
I'm
it's
here for
coming.
I'm here for team loser. Okay.
I love it. Oh, it's so true. I didn't even think about it. Sorry. Sorry, friends. And also sorry. That's those are the people that I've really grown to enjoy the most on this show, but I've
Yeah.
enjoyed everybody so far. Um, do you have a winner pick?
No, and I love that. I love that I have no fucking idea because of how diverse these comps have been. So,
Do you wanna throw out any guesses?
no.
I don't judge. I wanted to give you the platform to.
Yeah.
Um, if I could guess, I think I mentioned this on our live, so that's why I'll mention it here. Our TikTok live the other night. I'm not saying I'm sold on it, but I could absolutely see Josh winning based on the social media he's been posting after the show.
Yeah.
He also
Yeah.
does a lot of like, "Oh, I just got off this show and it's been so great." But like it's just some of the stuff I'm just saying it seems like he at least went far. So, I don't know. That would be currently who I would see being the winner, but I am not I wouldn't. If you were asking me to put money on it, I would not.
No.
You couldn't get me to do anything. At that point, I'd be on Sarah's side and have no winner pick. I have nothing official. So any other general thoughts before we wrap up?
Nope. It's time to go watch Survivor.
Oh my God, literally we got this done with 2 minutes to spare. Good night, everybody. That wraps up this episode of Wicked Unscripted. If you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. We are also regularly posting on TikTok. Follow our accounts. It's Abigail Adams, Sarah Talks Big Brother, and Wicked Unscripted. We always post updates on our personal accounts. We're doing better with getting stuff up on our podcast page. The last couple weeks have just been insane.
It's the holidays. This is supposed to be our off season.
And then we both got sick.
I feel like
so we are literally
giving
just
us the grace we deserve.
We're dying. We're dying. We're having fun while we're dying. But anyways, if you guys want to ask a question, if you want to share your thoughts, leave us a tip, email the podcast at wickedunscriptedpod, pod at gmail.com for more. It is down here if you are looking at the visual version. But again, that is wickedunscriptedpod, pod at gmail.com. We're always looking for fresh and diverse voices to join the conversation. And with that, we will see you next time. Thanks for listening. We're going to go watch Survivor. Bye.